Hi everybody, welcome to this day trade recap. Welcome to Momentum Stock Traders, and I hope you find value in what I'm going to show you today. Today is March 31st and we have had a rough month. It has been very difficult to trade. We're finding some good trades and we're being profitable. A lot of times you'll only get like one little run and it'll be really quick, and by the time it hits your scanner, the move has been made. And a lot of people that aren't target and trend traders, they don't understand where the pivot points are going to be, where price is going to turn on them. And so they're buying at the top. So you really need somebody that knows what they're doing, that can help you out and get those lines on your chart, the targets identified before you get in, so that you know what to look for, what to expect, if it's going to even be worth your time to get in that trade. I've had some time to work on some of my algos that are specifically designed for the market that we're in, because we really can't mess around. There just isn't a lot of range in some of these moves that we're seeing. I needed something that was going to help me stay focused as well. You're going to see what I've come up with, and it's working very well. This is a game changer for this particular market. Let me start with the first trade that I took today. We took three trades today. IONQ was the first trade that we worked with. Caught this one right out the gate. It hit my scanner right a couple of minutes after opening bell. And let me show you how this thing works. I put these lines on my chart for my members in my trade plan room. These are targets, these white horizontal lines, and this thicker one is a serious target. So I knew that was pretty much as far as I wanted to go. I mean, if I got a little bit of momentum past that, I would ride it and maybe sell into weakness, but this was really all I wanted out of this trade. So anything above that was extra cream. This thing hit my scanner a couple of minutes after opening bell right here. I was able to go ahead and get in. Now let me show you what I do. This lower indicator is a squeezed range finder for me. It doesn't really find the range, but it alerts me to look at my chart and find the range. Whenever I have one of these blue dots, that's telling me, or a red dot, there's some other colors that are on there, but whenever I get these little dots that line up down here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look for a previous doji, the most recent doji, and it's hard to see because it's pre-market and the coloring is a little bit weird. This is a doji, okay? It's one of these that looks like a cross, right? There's a wick on top and a wick on the bottom. It's pretty much equal length on top and bottom, and then you've got like almost no body. Here's another one. And so what I do is when I get one of these dots down here, I'll look for most recent doji, and sometimes there'll be a few of them lined up, but I try to find the one, right? And I make a box around that wick and I just extend it for as long as this little squeeze. This dot is indicating a squeeze is beginning, okay? And so I'll just draw a transparent box around that one doji, and then I will look for this pink line to start to point up, okay? That's going to tell me the direction of the trend that's going to happen outside of this squeeze, okay? And that's when I get in at either this arrow or a candle above this little transparent box, and that was this candle right here, okay? And that was at around, I don't know, $5.43, I think it was, that I got in. I was going to go to this target, which was $6.25, but I actually sold right here on this red arrow at around $6.49, so a little bit above my target, and I made $1.04 per share on that trade. Okay, now this one isn't as obvious, right? This little squeeze pattern right here isn't as obvious as what you're usually going to see. Now I kept this on watch to see if it set up again, and it continued here. We had another squeeze. I could have maybe got in here, right? Here's another squeeze. This is the whole point of this video, is to show you how this works. When I get one of these dots firing off, I'm going to look for the most recent doji, and here's a doji right here. I didn't trade this, but if I were to trade that, or want to trade that to see if it would set up, I would put a box around that doji, and it works for shorts if you like to short sell also. But my strategy is I'm going to try to follow this as long as this squeeze here, the squeeze, as long as it lasts, and I'm going to wait for my pink line to start pointing up or a candle to hold above that box. And here we had our pink line down here pointing up, a candle above the box, and you get in. I didn't do this one, but you could have got in here at $6.45, and you could sell when the pink line crosses below the red line down here, or you can sell into weakness, any of that. Or if it crosses, if your strategy is to sell crossing below the moving average, which occurred here, you would have made, you would have made about 20 cents on that trade, okay? I didn't trade up above this thicker white line, because when I make them thicker, that just means it's a serious target. I don't think it's going to do much after that. And it did drift up a little bit, but then it came back down, and look what it did. It just kind of hung around my white line. So that was a good target right there. Okay, so that was IONQ. The next one that we worked with was YMAB, YMAB. And again, another just one trade, and it was starting to do this little, I've decided I'm going to look for this squeeze pattern. In this market, you need as much juice as you can get, and a squeeze will compress price so that when it comes out one way or the other, it's going to make a fairly significant move. It'll move up pretty hard, or it will move down pretty hard. And I like to go long, so I'm waiting for it to pull out and move up and go to my target up. So I know my targets. That's not the problem. It's knowing my entry that's going to make sense, so I don't go red on any trade. I don't want to go red. Who does, right? That's what this is all about, is keeping me green on every trade. I look for this dot pattern, which is the squeeze, and then I look for the doji, the previous doji before this dot formed, the best doji that I can find. Like, I don't want one of these kind of candles right here. I don't want one of these kind of candles where there's no equal wick above and below. I want a doji. I don't care how big it is. So here's my doji, and I drew a transparent box around the size of that doji. Okay, in terms of height. And then I just extended it out for as long as this pattern was lasting. And then I waited for my pink line to start to point up. And here it started to point up, but I was still in this transparent box, right? So I wanted a candle above, and here I got in on this candle, which was right about when these dots ended. You can sometimes get in before the dots end. I don't like to get in when there's red dots. Sometimes I do, but I have to be pretty sure that I know what I'm doing there. But anyway, I got in here at around, I don't know, $4.97, I think it was, on this green arrow. And then I had this target that I told everybody, hey, 533 or 555, somewhere in there, you're going to be looking for an exit. And I made 59 cents a share on that one. Traded quite a few shares. So that one worked out really well. And as you can see, I could have stayed with it. It continued to drift up again, just like the other one. But after it reaches the target, it's going to need to find major support. And when I'm referring to major support, I'm talking about this blue line. This is the 50 EMA. It usually has to come down and meet up with that 50 and either decide if it's going to hold it or break below. And in this case, it couldn't really get above and start a trend beyond that. So it was good that I had this line here. Do you see how that was the deciding level right there, that line that I had that I told my trade plan members, that's our target. And so that was a good little target. 59 cents a share on that one. The next trade we did wasn't a big one, LCID. We were late to it because I was in other trades and stuff. But, I was done with the other trade. I heard this one on the scanner, so I came to it and I made a quick trade plan for it. And again, we had this squeeze pattern down here, which is really nice to see, okay? Did the same thing. I found the doji before this started, found the previous doji, and I just made a box as high as the doji was, right? The size of that doji. And it was a little one. And I just extended it out for as long as those dots. I didn't hear about this stock on my scanner until right around here, okay? And it was already well on its way to the target, but the candle started to compress right here, almost like a little squeeze, right? See how candles get small in a squeeze pattern? Well, they were getting small again. I didn't really have any dojis, but I just figured, well, I'll get in above this first couple of doji wicks, and that's what I did right here, $7.97, and I was just going to take it to around $8. I actually wrote it a little bit farther, so I just stayed with it to $8.14 is where I got out. I just sold into weakness right here. I had, enough time to get filled, and I made a whopping 18 cents a share, but all in all, between those three trades, I made $1.81 combined. So I was done before 10 o'clock this morning. 3 trades, and in a very difficult market where most traders are just sitting on the sidelines or sitting on their hands and not trading because they lost too much, or they just can't read the charts. They can't at this point. They can't find the momentum, or they've just lost their confidence in this market. It's a scary time, but if you've got a really good trade plan or somebody that's helping you find these stocks that are moving and that can tell you, hey, this is an important level right here. Do you see how it went above it a little and came back down? That was the deciding level. Here, retagged it right there again. Do you see how these levels mean business? So that's why it's really helpful to have somebody who knows where the targets will be that are going to be the end of the road for the day and can find these stocks and help you get in, and also give you tools like this down here that helps me identify when a squeeze is starting. There's a lot of squeeze tools out there. You don't need this one. But the idea is for it to tell you so that you can look for the most recent doji, get a box around that, the size of that doji, and then just wait for direction. This pink line helps me with direction. If it starts to push up and price is still in this box, I'm going to look for the minute it gets out of that box and I'm going to get in. Like I said, I was a little late because I didn't know about this stock until I was out of that other trade. But that's how you can play that. And even late, I made a couple of cents on that one. YMAB, this one, I just waited for it to get out of the box. The minute it was out of that box, I took it to my target. I had this line here that I wasn't so sure about. Usually it'll push through the first one and then often it'll push through the next one. So I just get out here and be done with it, right? We usually don't have more than one move stock that's moving. They don't usually do much follow through past its first initial move during the day. So I'm just looking for these little scalps, and if I can do 3 or 4 of those in a day, I will make a good living at it, even in this very difficult market. It helps to have a mentor. It helps to have somebody like a team you're working with that can help you do some of the research, get the lines on your chart, and help you find these stocks. And then it really helps to have the right tools on your chart to tell you when to get in and when to get out. I hope this was helpful to you. If you need any help with your charts, if you need any tools like this, if you need someone to help you find the stocks that are moving before they make the big moves, if you need any help with any of that, let me know at momentumstocktraders.com, and I would be glad to work with you. I hope you have a great weekend, and we will talk soon.